Welcome to the New Author Podcast, a weekly podcast diary starring Jerry Evanoff and Rich Kacy. Join them weekly as they talk about writing, publishing, and marketing their books. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Author Podcast. Today is, I don't know what today is. There it is, Monday, June 2nd, 2025. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay, good. It's episode number 312. I may have actually said 312 last week, but last week was 311. Today, though, is for sure 312. I am one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff, and with me, as he is each week, is Rich Kacy. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I got something to show you here. This is my new fidget spinner.
Okay.
High tech for when I need to be stimming. This is what I do. Up and down, up and down.
Okay. I like that. It keeps your hands busy, I guess.
Yeah, the only thing that I need to do, though, is I need to get a longer bolt because it's easy to fling this thing off and have it go skittering across the room.
I mean, sometimes I'll do this.
Yeah.
But that gets annoying, so the sound gets annoying. But that's okay. There you go. I like it. Old school fidget spinner.
That's right.
Fidget spinner. I like it. All right. Jumping into my stats from this past week. Before I do that, it's a new month, and at the beginning of every month.
Guess what?
What?
The nut just went shooting across the floor.
So now, how are you gonna? You're gonna have to fidget now.
Yeah. Now
I talk.
Now I just have to run my fingers up and down the threads of the bolt.
Oh. All right. It's weird. So, all right. So it's a new month. And I like to do this recap at the beginning of the first podcast of each month, just in case we have new listeners. Book one I have a 9-book series I'm working on. It's a murder mystery series. Book one was published 2 years ago, May 2023. And as I was writing book two, you and I, Rich, we got together in December and started talking about what we were going to do for our goals for 2024. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to concentrate only on word count. I don't care about anything else. And I decided at that point, I was going to write the first drafts of books 2 through 9 in this series so that I could seed stuff that happens in books 8 and 9 way back in book 2 and 3 and not have to go back and edit them and then republish or any of that stuff. So since May of 2023, I've written the first drafts of books 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the series. I've also written 2 novellas, book 0.5 and book 7.5, but everything is in first draft mode. I'm currently working on book 8. This past week, my goal for book 8 was to get 7,000 words, and I fell just short of it, getting 6,958 words. I didn't know where I was in terms of the count, and I probably would have kept going had I known it. I was 42 words away because I still had extra time today at lunch, and I just stopped, and I wish I would have known where I was because I would have beat it. But anyway, it doesn't matter, though, because...
So what you're saying is that you're the Barry Sanders of the writing world.
I am 100% the Barry Sanders. In fact, here, I can just do this for you really fast and say, I am the 100% Barry Sanders of the writing world. I'm playing Detroit as we speak. Well, before we speak and after we speak. And that's why I have a Detroit Lions team in front of me with my APBA football game. Barry Sanders used to get caught on the 1-yard line so many times. It was laughable. Oh, yeah. I remember watching him. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Oh, okay. Well, you were a fan. You loved. I'm sure you loved him the way that I love Bernie Cousins.
Oh, yeah.
So I was at 69.58 this past week, but I'm calling it a success anyway because I based that number on having 6 writing days. And immediately after we podcasted last Monday, I went into work on Tuesday morning. I got invited to a Thursday lunch meeting. Not lunch meeting, lunch celebration that I'll talk about for somebody. So I didn't have that Thursday to write. Had I had that Thursday, then I would have hit the goal and everything would have been fine. So I'm calling it a success anyway. With that additional 6,958 words, book 8 is now up to 13,633. And I really would love to tell you which chapters I've written so far, but I have been jumping around like a madman, just picking random chapters. I know that I've written 1, 2, part of 3. I wrote a prologue. I know I wrote 7. I think I wrote 5. I know I wrote 17, 23, 24, 25. I think that's right. I don't know why. I'm just picking chapters and writing. So.
I'm reading a book right now that I'll mention later, but I swear the author did that for the first third of the book. He just randomly wrote character vignettes and character interactions and had no idea what he was going to do with it until he had them all down, and then he decided, well, let's put this one and this one together, and this one and this one together, and just gradually built a story after that.
I mean, I kind of like the idea because now what I'm doing is I'm like, okay, I've got chapters. I've got 17 written and I've got 23 written. I know that. So I have to figure out now, let's just connect those two. Well, I'll write 21. And then I'll connect 17 and 21. And, it's kind of like you're just working your way toward a finish. I kind of like it. I'm sure at some point I'll stop and just work from start to finish. But for a period of time, I thought I was just going to go backwards. That's what I was doing at the beginning of the week. But I didn't do that. So again, I'm up to 13,633 for the year. I'm at 82,696 on the way to 145,000, which I'm, over 50% of the way there. And we are only 5/12, whatever that math works out to be, about 40% of the way through the year. So I'm doing well there.
I think actually 43%. Yep.
There you go. I didn't want to try to do it in my head because I'd have been wrong. So I'm going to just take you looked confident when you said it, so I'm trusting. Yeah. My words per hour is actually up 5 to 1,280 thanks to a really good writing day. I believe it would have been Saturday. It was a really good writing day. So yeah, those are my stats for the week.
Well, I got to tell you, I was so happy to see that you put the bit about the booty call in the title for last week's video. So I decided that since I am maybe going to be on a little hiatus from actual writing for at least a month or so this summer, that I would just do a quick summary where I'm at up till this point in time. I've got a partial edit of romance number 1 that I started earlier in the year. 8,284 words were added there. I've got a first draft of romance number 2, which I wrote this year, mostly in February, if I remember correctly. 51,983 words. I did one scene for romance number 3, 1,389 words. I did a short story called Small Penguin, 2,134 words. And then the cozy mystery I've been writing on sits at 59,242 words. Maybe another chapter or 2 needs to be done there. I'm not sure. I may just go ahead and start editing it. And anyways, my total words for the year is at 125,941 words, which is 63% of the way to the goal that I had, which is 200,000 words. So even if I do take month of June off and maybe even the month of July off, I'm still right on track to hit that 200,000 words. So I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm wondering now because, you said last week you were taking a bit of a break. You were busy, a lot of things going on. And I'm wondering, 125,941 words is a lot of words in under 5 months. Could you have gotten burnt out?
Yeah, I may have a little bit, especially the last big push I made on the cozy mystery. Then I'm just all over the place, obviously, because I'm writing romance, I'm writing cozy mystery, I'm writing stupid Small Penguin stories. So,
great.
So yeah, it's next thing I'm going to do is start writing Deadpool fan fiction or something.
Well, I will tell you, Rich. I will tell you that I'm going to talk about. Do you remember Encyclopedia Brown?
Oh yeah, I may or may not have played.
So me too. Those. And I may or may not have spent some time plotting an Encyclopedia Brown in 2025. And I was so disappointed to find out I'm not really sure how I could actually write this and distribute it. Because I don't even know if I can give it away for free, maybe on fanfiction.net or something like that. But I have a really fun story that I have that I'll talk about. I don't know if I'll talk about the exact details of it. I can read. I have ChatGPT over here. I was working on it with ChatGPT last week. And in fact, I will go over. Maybe in the stuff I share at the end, I'll just talk about the basic plot that I have. So yeah, you're not the only one thinking about fanfiction. I know you're probably joking. You're not the only one.
Yeah. Well, I love those. I love the Encyclopedia Browns, Hardy Boys, and Alfred Hitchcock Presents had a bunch of short novels for kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I never read the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew. I just went Encyclopedia Brown straight to Agatha Christie.
Okay.
So I never read those other ones. And but man, so the podcast I listen to that makes fun of bad books.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they also read Encyclopedia Browns to each other and try to solve them. And,
okay.
They kind of make fun of them in the process, but I don't care. They also make fun of Star Wars, and I love Star Wars, so I don't mind that.
When were those written? Did you ever look it up? Or
they're like 60s through, I believe, the early 90s.
Oh, okay.
I think he died. I think Donald J. Sobel died at some point in the last 20 years. But he was publishing, I think, into a pretty late age.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me jump into my week last week. I went into the office Tuesday with one goal in mind, and that was to make sure.
I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you because a lightning bolt just hit me. You can publish the story, except instead of calling it Encyclopedia Brown, you could call it Dictionary Dave.
So I did talk to ChatGPT. I was like, is there any way I can do this? And it's like, well, you change the names, change the city, and change a couple things in there, and you could absolutely do it as your own.
Right.
But I think it's more fun if it's my plot, if it's Encyclopedia Brown and
probably.
Sally Kimball and Bugs Meany.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about it. I'm actually excited about this. I don't think I'd ever write it, or at least not anytime soon, because I'm trying to get through this series, and it's gonna take me a couple of years. But I think it's so much fun just to plot and just make up these goofy stories with these characters. So yeah. All right. So I went into the office last Tuesday with one goal in mind, and that was to work 2 days in the office last week, and not have to wait until this week or 2 weeks from now. Just boom. I go in on that day and boom, I'm working 2 days in the office. I'm back to that, which is what I want to get back to. So I talked to my boss, and he seemed a little disappointed about it. I feel kind of bad. He seemed sad about it. I felt kind of bad. Then I went to HR, and they said fine. Nobody said anything. No one gave me anything. They just said, yeah, if that's what you want to do, you can. So I did that. So that was done, and I knew I'd be working Tuesday, Thursday, and actually for the rest of the summer through Labor Day, I'm going to work Tuesday, Thursday, because I have golf league on Tuesday. And Thursday's kind of it used to be the required day for the IT. It's not required anymore, but it's kind of preferred. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably do Tuesday, Thursdays the rest of the summer. And then once football starts, I'm going to do Wednesday, Thursday, so that I can stay up for Sunday night football, Monday night football, and Thursday night football. Like, it works out really well.
Yeah, it does.
I'll go to bed early on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I'll work on Wednesday and Thursday, and I'll have the rest. So I'm pretty happy about that. I had ordered a golf game, the board game, the previous Friday, and I had got, originally they thought it would be there the following Saturday, which is like 8 days, but I got an alert that it was going to be there on Tuesday. So somehow from Colorado Springs to my house in Northeast Ohio over a Memorial Day weekend, it took from Friday to Tuesday. Like, I ordered it Friday and got it Tuesday morning. It's great. I'm so excited about this.
I was talking with a guy at church yesterday, and he says that, I don't know if you've noticed working with Amazon lately that, a lot of things are getting, they give you a delivery date and then they say it's been postponed or whatever, or it's going to take longer to get to it. He says whenever he gets one of those, he puts in a cancellation for the order immediately, and invariably it shows up on his doorstep the next morning.
Wow. So. Yeah, that sounds like when you call the retention department because you don't want to cancel. You just want a better deal on something.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah. I haven't really had that problem. I mean, I've had a couple of things, but it's been a pretty small amount from Amazon. And working with the U.S. Postal Service with these orders I make, these games are all shipped USPS. Mm-hmm. I really haven't had much problems with them either, which is nice. So this game, I'm so excited to play this game as a golf game. I'll talk about it later in the episode because it was a really long game. But that showed up. So then at lunch, there's a little hamburger place that opened up right outside our office door that I didn't, it's like this little building by itself in a plaza. It's not even attached to anything. And for a long time, it was closed up. There's like homeless people sleeping in the doorway when I walk by, because I would walk past it to go to Subway. And I found out that it was opening up. In fact, I was sitting there writing, and two women walked in, and they were holding bags. And I said, "Where's that from?" And she said, "Oh, it's from downstairs." And I go, "Oh, what did you get?" And they said, "Well, we got hot dogs. They have hot dogs and hamburgers." I'm like, "Oh, can I look at them?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." So I walked over. I'm like, "This look good." She's like, "Yeah, I would understand why you would want to look at it." And I go, "Can I have a bite?" She said, "No, I did not." I did say that. She didn't want that. So I was very excited about that because there's not a lot around me, and I get tired of just eating TV dinners. They're $2 for $4, but you get tired of that. I want to, I'll go to Subway, but again, you can only eat Subway so many times. There's nothing else down there. It's Playhouse District. Everything's like a sit-down restaurant. Yeah. And I'm really excited. And it's open from like 11 to 2. It's not even open that long, so it's perfect for lunch. Pretty excited about that. I'll be trying that tomorrow, actually.
There's money in those hamburger stands.
There's money in that banana stand, yeah. So I also found out there was a new hamburger place opening near where I go to Chick-fil-A and Buffalo Wild Wings on the weekends. So that's something else I want to try. So very happy about that. I continued to go backwards. I wrote chapter 24, 25, and 26 over the weekend last week, but I actually went 26, 25, 24. Mm-hmm. And then I went back to chapter 22. So apparently I wrote that one. I forgot about that one. I didn't at that time know how long I was going to do this. I almost thought for a second, let's just write the whole thing backwards and see what happens. I feel like that could lead to problems. But I wrote 1,405 words in only 55 minutes. Like, that was, wow. When I plot well, the only trouble I have is the beginning, where you have to be like, he's in a room and this is what it feels like or looks like. The couples, I don't want to do a lot of that, but a sentence here and there to describe words. I struggle with that.
Yeah. I was watching an interview, since we made an allusion to Arrested Development. I was watching an interview with Jason Bateman, and you probably know this, but I was actually surprised to find this out because I never look at who the writers and the producers and stuff are for shows. Do you know who was one of the co-creators of Arrested Development and did the narration work?
It was Ron Howard.
Yeah, I had no clue.
It was Ron Howard. Yeah, and he later seasons, I think season 3, that because what's his name that played Fonzie? What's his name?
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler. He was on the show as a lawyer who was
right.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So at one point, so he was in it, but then at one point later in the show, they said something about Opie, and he said, and Ron Howard, the narrator, says no one should ever make fun of. I think it was Andy Griffith is what they were going to do.
Oh.
So they started making allusions to it later on.
I never caught that.
I feel like the first 3 seasons of that show are probably 3 of the funniest seasons of television in the history of television.
I don't know. I haven't watched it in a long time. I don't know if it was of a time, but they were hilarious at the time.
Yeah, it was so good. All right, so then on Wednesday, I worked from home. There was no writing on this day, which is weird because if I go down to 2 days a week, I have to go to the library, and I didn't on this day. And that's fine. But if you want, Rich, we can talk about Verizon.
Okay.
So, I had the Verizon 5G home internet right up there on that shelf, right up there, and for a long time. Then I went back to Brightspeed, faster speeds, cheaper. Their customer service is awful, but I just wanted to try it out again. So I kept the Verizon on at the same time. So, and then after about a month, I unplugged the Verizon and let it go for another couple of weeks with the idea of canceling before the next billing cycle. So I did that. Cool. So then I went to my Verizon account not too long after that, and it actually said your account has been canceled. Any other auto payments will be 0. All right, good. Well, then I happened to open up the phone link last week on my computer, where you can link your Android phone to your computer. And I noticed in the spam folder of my text messages on my phone, I didn't see this on my phone, only on the computer. I was turned over to a collection agency. Apparently, I owed Verizon $80, and I couldn't figure out why. So I started calling their tech support on this day on my lunch break, and it is absolutely the worst customer support in the history of man. I had gone to the store the previous weekend and got a phone number to call. I told the guy it's awful. It's a recorded voice and what happened was the first time I called, it was a recorded voice. Took me to a guy who finally, after a while, said, "Okay, I can help you. Let me put you on hold. If you have money that you owe us, you canceled it, I'll get rid of it." I'm like, okay. 6 minutes later, he comes back on long enough to realize I was still there and go back on hold. Didn't say a word. I could just hear it go up and down. And then 22 minutes later, I hung up, which I think is the plan. They want you to hang up, get mad, and that way you'll just pay the $80 and not worry about it.
Right.
So then on this day, I had the phone number from the guy at the store who said he can't help me because it's a collections issue. I have to call. And I'm like, guys, it's awful. I don't want to call. So I called. And it was the same recorded, we use AI and that crap. And it was like, enter your account number. I entered the account number the guy gave me for my account. Couldn't find it. You can enter your social security number. Okay, I did that. Couldn't find it and then hung up. There was no option for human. I did this 3 or 4 times. There's 0 options. You can hit 0 all you want. You can yell representative all you want. It doesn't matter. It hangs up on you. So what I did was I went to Verizon's website and I just paid it. And then I Googled the CEO of Verizon and found his email. And I sent him a very nasty email. And we'll leave it at that for now. All right. So Wednesday.
Did when you went to your Verizon account on the web or through the website, did it show a balance?
No. It said any auto payment will be 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to say later on, but I'm going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
There has for the last couple of weeks been a tremendous amount of phishing attempts using that exact MO that you just suggested. Because I've gotten a whole bunch of them. They dump into my spam folder. I just delete them. They're for accounts that I know are up to date, for accounts that I never even had. And yeah. All
right, we'll leave it at that until the next.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I'll read you the email if you're curious. This is to Hans Vestberg. At Verizon. Whatever. And I knew he wouldn't read it. Apparently one of his lackeys did. So anyway, I said, I just wanted to write you and say that I'm glad I'm no longer with your company. You guys have the worst customer support I've ever encountered in my life. I canceled my account, yet you charged me another month. I didn't pay it. You turned me over to collections. I go into a store and the guy tells me I have to call. I called the number he gave me, and it's an annoying automated AI or whatever recorder guy who A, doesn't understand me, and B, apparently can't find my account or social security number. Then he hangs up on me. Finally, I just go pay it because that's what you wanted. That's why you do this crap, so people like me just give up and pay. It's reprehensible and criminal how you treat your customers. Feel free to just call and discuss, although I'm sure you won't. You're a human being, I assume, and God forbid one of your customers actually gets to talk to a human being. I put thanks, my name, and my phone number. We'll just leave it at that for now.
All right.
Back to Wednesday. In the evening, I did the unboxing video for my new golf game. I was so excited. And then I played the first half of my football game, so I'm all over the game. I called my buddy one day. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, playing my football game." He's like, "You do that all the time." Yeah, I enjoy it. It's a good time.
No, not all the time. Sometimes I play my baseball game. Sometimes I play.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I play my golf game, my NASCAR game. Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely. So, all right. So Thursday, I'm off to work. It's early in the morning. It's probably about 8:45, and let's talk about Verizon. They called me. And it was this woman who was like one of the lackeys who said, let's talk about your email. And I was like, oh, sure. And again, I'm not swearing at anyone. I'm not raising my voice. I'm just talking.
Right.
And she said, what's going on? I explained to her. She's like, well, let me look at your account. So she looked at my account and she said, well, it says here that you canceled on August 12th or April 12th, but your billing period started April 3rd. And I was like, and she goes, that's why you owed. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, so we have that straightened out. I'm like, no, ma'am, that's not why I'm upset. I said, I'm not upset at you because I misread the bill or whatever I did. I'm upset with you because your customer support is so bad that I go, if somebody would have come to me yesterday on the phone and explained to me what you just did in 15 seconds, I'd be like, okay, and I'd have paid it and everything would have been good. But your customer support is so horrible that I don't understand how your customers even deal with you. And I'm just calm, no swearing. You can never swear, they'll hang up. So if you want to talk. And we just went back and forth talking. It was a casual conversation. And at the end, she's like, well, is there anything else I can do for you? I'm like, no, just fix your customer support. That's what you can do for me. And so that was my Verizon story and how horrible their customer support is. I'm dealing with a company at work right now who wrote a third-party software tool that we're using, and they are the greatest customer support I've ever had in my life. I email them, they write back to me. At one point, I just wrote, hey, I have a couple more questions. Can I just call you? He's like, yeah. He sent me his calendar, and we had a 45-minute meeting. I mean, it's fantastic. That's how customer support should be. Yeah. And these guys are so bad.
Yeah, that's what happens with companies, especially companies that deal in low value, high volume kind of business model.
Right.
The companies need to, you don't want this, but like if you're dealing with a company that has low volume but very high valued stuff, then they're always get right back to you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So then Thursday, I'll give you a book club update real quick. I talked about this last week. I talked to one of the women who's in the engagement committee, and she's kind of confided in me a couple things. I mean, I guess it's not a secret, but she said that there are 3 different people picking the books for June 1st, July 1st, and August 1st. And we'd be getting an email today. Now, we never actually got the email, so I don't know what's going on there. But she did tell me one of the books that's being picked. And I wouldn't read it if you paid me a large sum of money to, walk across the street and spit on it. Like, it's something about overcoming some trauma. It's self-help. It sounds like a real pick-me-up. I'm not reading for that reason. Like I said I'm not reading for a message. I'm not trying to be made to think. I'm a very simple person, and I want to stay that way.
So it's nonfiction? They're reading nonfiction?
The guy that picked this one, this one's a nonfiction. Okay. But the other 2, and she asked me, she's like, "What do you like?" And I'm hoping that the books I told her I like, I'm hoping I'm kind of influencing her decision on one of the books, because there were some good ones. But right at the bottom of that fiction list, Rich, a Colleen Hoover, and I said, "Please, for the love of God, Michelle, don't make me read another one. I will not do it. It's god awful." Then I showed her the center aligned text that I showed on here before with the Colleen Hoover. The ones I like, there's something called The Guest List by Lucy Foley.
Yeah.
And there's another one that seemed really interesting called None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one. I know Lisa Jewell. She's a good one.
Yeah, the blurb, basically, I looked them both up, and the blurb looked good. Then there was one by Bill Bryson. I know my mom likes Bill Bryson. Yeah. This is a nonfiction, but it's about the summer of 1927 and all these different events that happened at the same time. And I think that would be a really interesting read.
So, I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah. Okay. So then Friday, I'm back to work, but I'm working from home. I had a meeting at 11:30 that took me till about 12:05, and this would have normally kept me from writing. And I don't really write on Fridays anyway, but because I didn't go Wednesday, I felt like I had to go. So I grabbed my laptop across the street to the library. And I moved backwards to chapter 18. I wrote this scene from the serial killer's point of view. I decided to inject about 4 or 5 of those from his point of view. Since we have book 7.5, which is entirely from his point of view, I thought the readers would probably benefit from seeing his. Now, I don't know if somebody who skips 7.5, I'm not sure how they'll feel about it. But I think it's going to work out okay. They're not long chapters. This one was 836 words. Wrote that in about 40 minutes. So they're not really long chapters. You're just inside his mind as he's kind of setting up the next thing to happen. So I think it works out okay. Saturday, I woke up to 45 degree and windy weather for about I don't know. I wrote 10 straight Saturday, but it feels like it's about the last 6 months. But I went golfing anyway. There were 3 of us, and I'm pretty sure it got colder as we went. And I've decided I'm playing the white tees until further notice. It's so much fun. I shot 86. I mean, I don't shoot 86 very often, but now I'm shooting in the 80s every time. It's great. I love it. I have no pride, but I have no ego, so I don't care about that. It'll be fun next week when there's 4 of us and 2 of the guys are long hitters, and it'll be fun to see what they say. I don't care. I've been called, sometimes I'll go back with my old buddy who I used to golf with all the time. I would walk up to the tee box and I wouldn't have my driver, and he would call me many things that weren't politically correct. And I'd be like, I don't care. Call me what you want. I don't give a crap. I'm having fun.
Just think how much fun you'd have if you played the red tees.
Yeah, don't think I haven't thought about that. Don't think I haven't thought about that.
I've done that before, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. We have a couple of women in our golf league on Tuesday nights, and one of them golfs almost every week, and she always plays for the red tees. And every time I'm playing with her, or she's in front of us or behind us, I'm just like, I just want to play from those tees once just to see how well I can do. I think I could break 80. I think I could break 80 from the reds.
Yeah, there's nothing like being able to hit the green with a 2-wood or something.
There's a hole there from the white tees. It's 305 yards. I'm sorry, 200. The blue tees are 320 yards. The white tees are 220. And I know if I got a hold of a driver, I could get it to the front of the green. Yeah. Oh, that's such a great feeling. So then I went to Hothead Burrito for the first time in about 9 months after golf. I hadn't been there in a long time, but I did not go to the one that I normally go to because I don't want to have to deal with the, hey, where have you been questions I'm going to get over and over again. So I went to a different one. I sat there for a while. I went all the way back to chapter 5, 1,754 words in about 80 minutes. And this is the scene. These are scenes I always struggle with. This is the scene where Sam starts interviewing suspects. And this one's actually the murderer himself. And, it's always tough to write because I know he did it. I remember I wrote one of these first drafts not knowing who the murderer was until the end. And I felt better about writing those interviews because I didn't know who did it. So whatever came out, I could then use later as part of the here's why I know you did it scene.
Right.
So it was kind of interesting. I kind of struggle with it, but I think I did a pretty good job with it. And I'll go back and edit it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
you talk about how hard it is to write by the seat of your pants, but that is one of the advantages because you don't really know who the murderer is. So all those interactions between the investigator and whoever turns out to be the murderer seems a lot more natural. Yeah.
Well, you're almost the investigator in that case. Like as the writer, you could be asking them questions because you don't know.
Right. Exactly.
See what they say. Yeah. So so now I get home. It's Saturday afternoon. It's probably 3:00, maybe 4. And there's an app that I wanted to use for this golf game, and I messed around with it for about 2 hours. I could not get it working, or I couldn't get it working to the way that I wanted. I really wanted to play the game, so I just tossed it aside. And we're going to use Google spreadsheets and paper and pencil like the old days. Well, the paper and pencil part. And I played it. It took me about 2.5 hours to play about half the tournament. I was still learning how to play. It was about 8:30 before I stopped and posted it. It's a blast. It's really fun. I've got all the golfers from 2024. I have a bunch of courses, and it was just fun. I really enjoyed it. Sunday morning, up early to golf. This time it's 49 degrees and cold, but it was a sunny day, so it warmed up relatively quick to where I was almost able to take my hoodie off by the 18th hole. I didn't, but I was almost able to. And shot 80. What did I shoot? 85. Yeah, 85 on this day. Again, white tees. And I'm just going to keep playing them for a while. I wish I could play them in my golf league. I'd probably have so much more fun on Tuesday nights. But good time. So then afterwards, I went to a Five Guys. I haven't been to one of those in a long time either. Worked on chapter 7. So I went from 5 to 7. I skipped chapter 6. Chapter 6 is from the murderer's POV, one of those chapters. So I just skipped over it for now. And I wrote I think there's 3 scenes in chapter 7. I wrote 2 of them, 2,147 words in about 90 minutes. And this is one of those chapters that has a ton of scenes, a ton of words. It'll be split up once I format. This chapter also includes a scene that I'm not so sure about. I'm curious about your opinion. I'm not really writing saucy language or I'm not writing like jerks, but in this scene, I don't know how to say that because I do write some jerks, but they're bad guys. In this scene, Sam and Danny meet up with one of Sam's college buddies who hadn't seen about 15 years. And I describe him when I plot as a frat boy douchebag.
Uh-huh.
And in the scene, like, he meets him. You can tell he's kind of like that, still in that frat boy mode, even though he's in his early to mid 30s, and hat backwards. And again, I apologize if I'm insulting anyone who wears their hat backwards, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You can picture that person at that age, probably goes to the gym and works on, his arms a lot, that kind of thing. So in the scene, I have Danny getting up and walking away and this guy checking out her butt. Mm-hmm. And this isn't something I've written in any of the first 8 books. And I'm like, I feel uncomfortable writing this. So I don't really know if I'm going to keep it in there or not, because he'll make a mention to Sam. And, Sam's a guy. Is he going to be like, I know, or shut up, dude? I have to shut up, dude, because I want him to be a good guy. But I don't know what to do with this scene. But I like the idea of it because it really gives away this guy's personality. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
Whose POV are you in this?
Sam's? Main character.
Yeah. You can allude to it without actually saying it. You could do something along the lines of, Sam noticed that, what's the guy's name?
Austin.
Yeah. Sam watched Austin as Austin watched the girl, Danny walk away.
What did I write?
And then Austin could say nice or something like that.
That's kind of not, I didn't go that. I mean, I went farther with it, not graphically, but here I'm actually going to read it. I'm just going to read it. We'll do that right now since we have a few minutes here. What chapter did I say it was 7? I'm pulling it up in my what do you call it? Novel crafter. So chapter 7, it's a short part of it. And I wrote, let's see. I have them dropping a couple F-bombs, which I always write F-bombs into my books. And then when I go edit, I take them all out.
Okay.
It happens every time. Where's it at? Oh no, it's back farther. Sorry. We're getting there. Let's see. Okay, wait. Oh man, why can't I find it? It should be right in here. Oh, here it is. As they made their way, so this is Danny taking her daughter to the bathroom. That's why they went. Her daughter's 9 or 10 or something. As they made their way toward, this is first draft, so bear with me. As they made their way toward the back hallway, Austin watched they go. When they were out of earshot, he leaned, a smirk on his face. Dude, when it comes to life, you are effing winning. She's hot. How did you snag a hot mom? He says, I got lucky, I guess. Yeah, you did. We got to get some pictures of the two in the site so the guys can see what you managed to pull. I saw where you looked when she walked away, and I got to say, that's some good shit. That's what I have been saying. And that's pretty. And Sam says, stop, his tone joking, serious, whatever. So that's it. So at the very end of this chapter, this is what I did. And I really would like to do this, but I wrote, this is Sam and Danny now walking away. And he says, as they stopped to pay the check, Danny leaned into Sam, whispering to him, he thinks I'm the hot girlfriend. And I have Sam going, that's not all he likes. Sam whispers, he leaned back and looked at her butt. That's what I wrote. I'm probably going to change that a little bit. I want this because I want a little joking moment there. Because I think the two of them would joke about it in just two of them. Yeah. And I also want this guy to come off as a douchebag. So I'm trying to figure out how to write that. And it's not anything that I've written in any of my characters in the first 8 books. I'm trying to stay away from the douchey male stereotypical characters, basically.
Right.
I'm trying to stay away from. So
so it's hard to then suddenly drop that in there.
Right. It's like they say your writer's voice. That's not part of my voice through this series.
Right.
But it could be part of that character.
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely.
So, definitely. So anyway, I'm struggling with that, but I'll figure it out. Let's see. After I got home, played my golf game, but I had so many audio issues that I just couldn't post it. I think the batteries in these things were dying on me, and I didn't realize it. And I had multiple times where I'd look up and the audio wasn't working, so I didn't post it, which is fine because I just love the idea of playing it. And then I went to my couch, grabbed my laptop, and bought more golf stuff from them. I bought my courses. I bought. They have this really nice playing mat that you can use. So it's a blast. I can't wait to play it again. And then this morning, I woke up to an email from the woman doing my story Bible. Tony Suzuki is her name. Edits by Tony with an I.com. Edits by Tony with an I.com is her website. She's starting today on my Bible. She'll be done, I think, by the 17th. That wasn't originally supposed to start until like the 26th. So I'm really, really excited about this. I'll get it, within the next couple of weeks.
I'm curious if it's Tony with an I, why you spelled it with a Y in the outline.
That's a great question. I don't know. No idea. It's with an I. It's a great question. Let's see. So I worked from home today. Again, my first Monday working from home. Now that I'm back to 2 days a week. I did walk across the street to the library at lunch, and I wrote the last scene in chapter 7. And this is where I only wrote 766 words. I still had 10 minutes left. Had I known I was 38 words from breaking 7,000, I would have continued to write. I just never looked it up until after work when I was putting together the rest of the outline. So yeah. And then I played my football game right before we logged on, had some dinner, and now we're podcasting. And there's a outside chance that even though it's already 8:21, really? Wow, it's already 8:21, and I have to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. There's an outside chance that after we're done, I finish this football game, which is another hour. But we'll see.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
You could do it.
I think I could. Yeah. So that's it. That was my week. It was a good week writing-wise.
It was.
And I'll talk about, let me go ahead while you're talking. I'm going to put in the Encyclopedia Brown thing down here so I don't forget when we get to the stuff to share.
Okay. Well, my week was primarily work early and then playing around late, no writing at all. Tuesday and Wednesday, I worked at the library during the day, spent the evenings, been watching that show New Tricks that I talked about last week because Tammy was out of town still. Then I was off Thursday through Sunday.
Nice.
Thursday, Tammy was flying back in the afternoon, so of course I had to spend the morning cleaning up the house. And everything I just threw everywhere while she was gone, I had to pick all that stuff up. And then after picking her up, we came home, had to do the big tour of the garden and stop every 5 feet to see what's changed and what hasn't, because that's just the way she is with that kind of stuff. In the evening, we watched a new show that's now dropping on BritBox. I can kind of recommend. I haven't seen enough episodes to say whether I could wholeheartedly recommend it. It's called Death Valley, and it's kind of a goofy show. It's kind of a cross almost between a Father Brown and some kind of a comedy skit. But it's a young female detective sergeant basically teams up with a retired actor who played a detective on TV, which and they solve murders, and he's the brains behind it all. And she's not blonde, but she kind of plays the dumb little girl a lot. So it's kind of a little silly show, but it's firmly in the G-rated camp, and so it's perfect for my wife.
And it's perfect for me.
Yeah, and it's perfect
I might have to check
it out
tonight. If I don't play the football game, I'll check it out tonight.
Yeah. Friday, I slept in a bit, and then we went out and picked blueberries from our bushes. Got the first crop in from there. We got about 2 quarts worth of blueberries, which is really good for the first picking of the year. I hope we get more towards the end of this week, because then we're going to be gone for a week, and that's probably when they'll all come in. And the birds will get them, or our neighbor will get them, or something. Then after we picked the blueberries, I went to the home improvement store and bought another 16 bags of concrete mix. I remember last week I was talking about how I'm building a path through my wife's garden. It was hot out. It was already in the afternoon. Each of those weighs 80 pounds. So I got more than my share of weightlifting and sweating for the day during that, because I was just soaked by the time I got it onto the hand cart to pull it out to the pickup and then up into the pickup. That was a lot of work. And then when I came home, I had to unload it. So I unloaded the truck when I got home, and then I gave up for the day. I said, that's enough work for me for one day. So I took a shower and I did something that I really love to do that I haven't been able to do recently because of me working all day long, and that is go to the grocery store and grocery shopping. I love to go grocery shopping. I just wander up and down the aisles and pick things off the shelves and say, this looks good.
You weren't hungry where you should ever go to the grocery store?
No, I ate before, but that usually doesn't stop me. I still come back with all kinds of stuff. In fact, before I went to the grocery store, I went to the Oriental food store because I do a lot of stir fries, so I like to buy the sauces and stuff that they have. And while I was there, I bought, because I wasn't hungry, or else it would have been worse, I bought a bag of honey butter potato chips, which I'd never seen before, and a big container of seaweed snacks, which are basically
Oh,
these dried pieces of seaweed, seasoned seaweed that you eat for a snack.
really? That's a thing?
Yeah, well, that's definitely a thing, especially
All right.
in the Asian countries. It kind of tastes like you're eating anchovies or something. It's really
Ew.
salty and
Okay.
but I like that kind of stuff. So I did that. By that time, it was late afternoon. I was tired, and Tammy was busy outdoors planting flowers. So I took a 2-hour nap and didn't feel guilty at all. And then in the evening, we watched the second episode of Death Valley. Only 2 of them have dropped. I think they're dropping. Let's see, when's the 5th this week? Today's the 2nd, so that would be on Thursday. I guess they're dropping every Thursday through June.
I like that. I like when they do that and they don't unload them all at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, BBC seems to like to do that. They don't want to drop everything all at one time.
Good.
Saturday, I spent the first part of the day laying more concrete on that pea gravel path and got another 15 feet or so. So I'm kind of out of our patio, which is out our back door, and down and around the pond that we have. So slowly working at it. After lunch, I took another shower again because I was sweaty and tired, and started reading a new book that I kind of alluded to earlier. It's called Florida Roadkill by Tom Dorsey. And if you look up Tom Dorsey, he's got a lot of these books. They're in a series, well, kind of a series, but it's like a Carl Hiaasen knockoff. And I don't know who came first, him or Carl Hiaasen. My guess is Carl Hiaasen. But instead of being kind of the, I guess, GPG rated stuff that Carl Hiaasen puts out, this Tom Dorsey stuff is definitely firmly in the R-rated camp.
Wow,
a lot of violence, a lot of on-screen sex and that kind of stuff. So, but I don't know what I'm going to find. I don't know if I'm going to go on to book number 2. I got to see how this one ends first. It kind of, like I said, it threw me for a loop the way he started the book with all these just random vignettes of people interacting with each other. I had no idea what was going on. It is kind of interesting the way he's pulling them together, though, at the end. And part of the reason it made it so confusing, and I know some authors do this, but I don't know if it's definitely not recommended for most authors probably, is these early vignettes were basically right in the middle of the timeline for the story overall. So he had all these vignettes that are right in the middle of the timeline. Then he had to back up and then start weaving it together to how they got to that point, and then he's going to take it forward. So it was kind of a little strange way to structure the story, but if you're going to read, I guess if you're going to read a book like that, you don't care what it's structured like.
Right.
The weirder, the better. And then in the evening, since we had kind of expired or gone through all the Death Valleys that were out there, we went back to the New Tricks and watched some more of that. Sunday, yesterday, I was in church all morning, including a potluck and a business meeting, so I didn't get home till probably close to 1 o'clock. We're doing right now we're renting space in a Baptist church, and we're going to be looking at moving someplace else and building our own building. So we had a consultant come in and, do all the planning and all that. And so we had to discuss it. It was, as an economist, it was at once interesting, but extraordinarily boring because there was no details of anything. Once we did come home, I made another batch of brine for refrigerator pickles. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but we've had a lot of cucumbers this year. So I've been making pickles, and I made a new batch, put it in a gallon jar, stuffed a gallon jar full of cucumbers. And that might end up being the last batch I get. It's gotten really hot here in general. It's been 90 to 95. That's a little bit too hot for cucumbers to set. But we'll see.
It reminds me of an Andy Griffith episode where Aunt Bee was making pickles and they were awful. And Barney at one point called them kerosene cucumbers.
Well, we love these pickles. They're so salty and so sour from the vinegar that we really love them. This last batch, I put in a bunch of hot spice, so they're going to be hot pickles. And we'll see what that turns out like. But again, like normal, dealing with people on Sundays always wears both of us out. We just, we're just kind of classic introverts. We don't gain energy from dealing with people. So we laid down and took another 2-hour nap. and then did very little after that. Watched some TV. I don't even remember what we watched, and then I did some reading before bed. And unfortunately, this morning I was back at work at the library, and there was only 2 of us in the reference department, so I had to spend the entire time, except for my lunch break, on the public desk, and it was really busy for some reason. I have no idea why. I expected, since all the colleges were done and finished for the year, that there wouldn't be much demand for the study rooms. No, there was more demand for study rooms than I have seen in the time I've been there.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just really strange. The only useful thing I really did, other than handling people's problems or looking at books for them and stuff like that, is I did start putting together some materials for a Canva class that I'm going to be teaching on Thursday. And I went into Canva to make sure I actually could get in there and knew how to get around in there. Since I never use Canva, but that's something most people are using nowadays, apparently. Yeah, and that was my week. It was busy. I did a lot of interesting things in terms of working in the garden and that. Watched some new shows. Did some reading. Did no writing at all.
Okay.
And I got nothing new on my future running list of things to do right now. I'm just trying to get through this week. I do work 7 days in a row, and then I have next Monday off, and then Tuesday we're leaving for LA. So
okay, how long are you gone?
Could be gone through the following Monday. Okay. So we may have to, push off that recording to Tuesday or something.
Okay. Yeah. My running list of future things to do hasn't changed. Also, it's stuff that I want to do once the books are ready, but nothing yet. My addicted to again, it's this golf game. It's not only playing the game, but I watched a lot of people in the evenings as I was sitting on the couch before bed playing the game on YouTube, just to get an understanding of how to play it, because that helps me when I sit down to learn. I don't want to have to read the directions. So if I watch enough people play it, I'll get 90% of it, and then I'll have to go to the book for the other 10%.
Right. One of the things we've started at the library is that I may have mentioned we are not really lending puzzles. We have a puzzle exchange where there's a bunch of puzzles out there, and you bring one and take one, kind of thing. But that we've also started loaning out board games.
Oh, really?
That just started this past weekend. And when I went in this morning and saw it for the first time, there are shelves of about 50 board games on the shelf, and probably 90% of them I have never heard of.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot out there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking I might pick up one that looks interesting, but do exactly what you did with the golf thing and come home and watch your YouTube videos about how to play it. Instead of trying to read the directions.
It's all there. It's all there. Just watch people play it and you get an idea how to play it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually have a Twitch account. I probably go on Twitch and watch people play it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
My addicted to is probably the New Tricks television program on BritBox, but also we've started since we ran out of ice cream, we started a new bad habit, and we're eating chocolate chips raw.
Nice.
For anxiety and fun. So
yeah. Wow.
Instead of getting chocolate bars, we're just eating chocolate chips.
I like that. You're cutting out the middleman.
That's right.
All right. So coming up for me this week, I'm in the office tomorrow. I have my golf league in the evening. I will try to golf. I will try to get 1,000 words at lunch tomorrow. I am playing the guy who is the best golfer in the league tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
He's a 2 handicap, and he'll shoot somewhere in the high 30s, most likely. So I really have to play well. My team was in second to last place 3 weeks ago. There's 14 teams. We were in 13th. And after 3 weeks, we're now up to 4th. Like, we've had the most amazing last 3 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and tomorrow we have a hard team to play. The 2 guys we play against are good, and the guy I'm playing is the best guy in the league. So it'll be interesting. Wednesday I'll work from home.
You're doing like match play? Is that what you're doing? Or
yeah, you do match play. So it's 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wednesday I'll work from home, and I may try to go to the library at lunch. I'm not sure yet. My grass is going to need cut. I know it's going to rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so I'm not sure if I'm going to wait until maybe Sunday to cut my grass. It's not too bad right now, but my neighbors on both sides, the jerks, they cut theirs today.
Yeah.
He might be able to hear me because he's outside, you jerk. He had to cut it today, and now mine looks bigger, than it actually is. So it's terrible. So I may do that Wednesday.
So you're not going to use the excuse that I've used in the past, which is, you really ought to let that grass grow 4 or 5 inches because it's really much better for the plant.
I'm going to have to throw that out there now. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Thursday, I'm back in the office. I'll shoot for another 1,000 words at lunch. Friday, this is where the half a days start right here. So I have a half a day Friday. And I have an eye appointment at 11:40. I'm probably going to just get my prescription and do the Zenny thing again.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to tell him that, when I play my football game and I'm sitting right here and my cards are like, if I just lift, there's my card right there. That's how close it is to me. I take my glasses off because these glasses don't work. These are far away glasses. They gave me prescription readers last year, and I had to be like this in order for them to work.
Okay.
Because I want something that's like 2 feet away. If I sit on my couch with my laptop, I have to take my glasses off. It's awful, and I have to squint because these glasses.
So you're not using bifocals, but you probably need
correct.
it.
Yeah, I tried once and I could not do it.
Oh, really?
I think it's because my lenses are so small. I don't get big glasses.
Yeah, well, neither do I. But if you get the bifocals that are the progressives, I mean, you get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't like it.
I tried. It just didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work out. So that'll be Thursday. Then I have my appointment Friday, and then I have to go get my sticker renewed for my license plate. And sadly for me now, when you have an electric car, you pay the $40 for your sticker, and then you pay an additional $200 to the state because you have an electric car.
Yeah.
I haven't paid a gas tax in 6 months. They got to get their money from me somehow.
Right.
So I'll do that on Friday. Saturday and Sunday are very similar to last week. I have 6:40 a.m. tea times both days. Saturday's not looking so great because of the rain, but either way, I'll come home, I'll pack up my laptop, and I'll go somewhere to write. Saturday, I'll do my non-grocery store errands, which I may even do on Friday, so maybe I won't have anything on Saturday. And then Sunday, I'll go to the grocery store after I write. And then Monday, again, back to working from home on Mondays. The goal is library on this day. The goal is probably library on Mondays, nothing on Wednesdays, and then half a day on Fridays. Gets me 6 writing days a week. That's pretty much what I'm going to look at for the next few months. Let's see. And then so based on the math, if I had 7 writing days, 4 of them being lunch breaks and 3 of them being non-lunch breaks, including the Friday half day, that equals 8,500 words. I usually do 1,000 on the work lunch breaks and 1,500 on the other days. But I don't know about that 7th day, and 8,500 just seems like a lot. So I'm just going to put 7,000 for now, and we'll see what happens. This will be, if I get 85, if I get 9,000, maybe next week I'll make it a little higher. But we'll go 7,000 for right now.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned this before, but you really ought to keep in the back of your mind that once your books start coming out, you got to talk to the library to see if you get a writer in residence position there.
What does that mean?
Oh, well, in general, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that you're kind of the library's official writer. Oh,
I'd be like the golf pro in a golf show.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I'll take that title.
Yeah. So it would be good advertising for the library. You'll have books out that people could buy. It'd be good advertising for you actually too. So yeah, that'd be really interesting.
My books have been on display there before, so
okay,
I'll have to check it out. So that's my week. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my week is going to be, like I mentioned, 7 days in a row of working at the library. My next day off won't be until we meet again to chat next Monday. We can do it earlier in the day than today, and I don't know if I'll do any writing. I doubt it because I'm not going to worry about it. And also because I got that class to teach on Thursday, I'll probably need to put a bunch of stuff together. And if it was like today and 3 of the 5 people that were supposed to be there, counting me, don't show up for work, then I'm just going to be busy manning the desk.
Right.
That's all I'll be doing this week. Stuff to share. I think I mentioned Rachel Herron's podcast earlier in the year called Ink in Your Veins. I did listen to an episode on my way home from work today, episode 501, which is called How to Reframe What Writing Success Is and When to Do It. It was kind of an interesting episode. She had a guest whose name I cannot remember, who was talking about who had written a memoir and is very much into the slow writing, purposeful writing, kind of a mantra, and no business whatsoever was talked. So if anybody's interested just in how people write who are not thinking of it as a business but more of it as an art or craft, then that's a good episode to look at.
Okay. Mine is, as I talked about earlier, my Encyclopedia Brown stuff. I was bored one night, grabbed my laptop, and I just typed the following into ChatGPT. I wonder if there's a story between Encyclopedia Brown and Bugs Meany, but this is a genre fiction novel, and they're older, maybe in their 50s. Any thoughts? That's why any thoughts. What do you think? Pick a couple genres and give me some ideas. So it gave me 2. It gave me the noir mystery / crime thriller, and it gave me the character-driven literary fiction with humor. Let's go with the noir mystery, because that's what I went with. So it said, Think Raymond Chandler meets the Hardy Boys 30 years later. Gives me a premise. Leroy Encyclopedia Brown now runs a low-rent private investigation office in the same town where he once solved lunch money thefts. Idaville's innocence faded long ago. The neighborhood is fading. The kids are gone. And the mayor's a crook. Brown's father is long retired from the police force, and a new generation doesn't care for the book-smart has-beens. Bugs Meany is out of prison and runs a local auto shop. Legit, supposedly. But when a city councilman is murdered and Bugs is the last known person to see him alive, Encyclopedia is reluctantly drawn back into Bugs' world. And the twist is that Bugs didn't do it. And then there's a tone, gritty, dark, nostalgic, with flashes of humor and pathos. In my head, I'm just seeing Bugs. I'm seeing Encyclopedia Brown in this like dingy office. It's black and white.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's one light that barely works, and you know the door with the window, and then you know the femme fatale comes walking. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Right.
So then I said, I actually like both of those, and I go, of course. Here's what I wrote. Of course, Sally Kimball, who was like Encyclopedia's best friend, and she used to beat up Bugs Meany pretty much every book. There was at least one time she'd beat him up. So naturally, you know where I got to go with this. Can you guess?
Well, I know where I would go with it. She's now an aging stripper, but
oh, she's not even there.
Okay.
I went. Not. I mean, maybe it's surprising. I think maybe mine's a little more cliche. I actually like both of these, and of course, Sally Kimball has to be there. I would love a twist where after high school she married Bugs Meany and had a kid, but the marriage didn't last too long. And this like put a wedge between her and Encyclopedia.
Oh, okay.
And you're not going to believe this, Rich, but ChatGPT loved my idea.
I'm shocked. I mean, it's usually so highly critical.
I know. It's amazing. So then let's get down to, I said, let's stick with the noir, blah, 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 blah. Gave me a working title, Idaville After Dark, which could go with your side of it.
Oh, yeah.
But let me see if I can let me get to the bottom.
Well, it's got a very noir feel to it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be good.
So basically, they have a kid. There's two cases going on. Sally's comes back to Encyclopedia, and they haven't spoken in like 30 years. You know, he didn't go to the wedding. This is a big deal. And she comes in because her kid's missing. Her and Bugs' kid's missing. And then the murder happens over here. And in the end, the two crimes come together, and Encyclopedia has to solve it. And then I decided in the end, it would make sense if she walked off with Bugs Meany, leaving him back where he was. Yeah, that was kind of my idea for a story.
So you went really dark there at the end.
Yeah. He should not get the girl in the end. This is different.
Yeah.
And I said, give me some stories from the later books. And I said, I want to use a weapon in one of those that Encyclopedia solved the case for. Something goofy, and he solves it for a quarter. And then that comes back in this book 30 years later, be a murder weapon.
Oh,
and
nice.
It gave me this sword that was in one of the books. And I read them all when I was a kid. I don't remember any of them.
Right.
But yeah, so I doubt I'll ever do anything with this, but I'm going to keep this in my ChatGPT left side just in case. I have a bunch of those. I have my Debbie Gibson romance from earlier. I have stuff going back. I have an action thriller plot from like 2023 that I was writing. It was based on a girl that I used to work with, who me and another guy used to pretend that she was an assassin for the government. And all because one day in Teams, we heard a banging sound in the background while she talked. And we just started with this story about how she was an assassin. She's in a warehouse doing the meeting with us right now, but she's getting ready to kill someone. Like, we had this whole story. So I plotted it one night. Like, I love having these in ChatGPT. I don't think I'll ever write them, but I love plotting with ChatGPT. It's so much fun.
Your ChatGPT is probably a lot more creative and interesting than mine. Mine are things like, how do you distill opium out of poppy seeds and, stuff like that.
That seems interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just looking at some of my titles, Gnome Mystery Unveiled. I don't know what that is. Time travel romance, homicide report structure. I have some good ones here. Golf course mystery, that's book 2. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of stuff going back to 2023 when I first started with it.
I got a great title. Just popped in my head. Gnome Time for Fairies. That would be...
Okay, that's good.
Dad jokes. It's like a dad joke.
All right, so I'm not going to use that for the podcast title, but because I already know what I'm going to use, but I'm going to use part of that because that works really well. Okay. Anyway, all right. Well, that's all I have. That's my fun Encyclopedia Brown story that maybe someday I'll do something with. The problem.
Nice.
And I mean that's the end of the podcast. You have anything else?
Nope.
All right, if you want to get in touch with me, you can email me, jerry@jerryevanoff.com. I dusted off the Facebook author page today.
Oh.
Took a look at it. There might be some posts there again. Facebook.com/JerryEvanofFauthor. If you want to go see it, I haven't posted in about a year, but it could happen. And we are on YouTube. And you can find us on your podcasting app, depending if you want to listen to us or watch us on video. You can see me rocking like crazy right now because I've been standing for like 3 hours and my feet hurt. So I've been moving around a bit. So I probably won't play my football game tonight. But yeah, that's how you can get in touch with us.
If you'd like to drop me an email, the address is rich@richkacy.com. And I can also be found on Blue Sky at Kacy himself, where I believe I now have 460 followers at the moment. So still haven't gone back and weeded out all the bots, but I will do that at some point.
That's what I did today when I dusted off my Facebook. I blocked about 10 people that I'm like, these people don't care about this stuff. I don't even know why they're here.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, that's it for this week. We will be back next week, and we'll talk more about our weeks. Thanks for listening.
Have a fantastic week.